Well, thank you guys for joining this evening. Tonight, we are going to go over our section, our coaching section in obstacles. So, as we start making our way through back in our cycle, we start practicing and we get our focus on things that we want to do and getting, productive in our weeks and our days, our months. And, basically, the more productive we get, the more obstacles comes in the way. So when we talk about obstacles, what I mean is just anything that pops up that prevents us from getting our desired outcome or target. So, it's anything from something being difficult to accomplish, any kind of roadblocks, or maybe it's just things that become inconveniences for our time that week or for our ability to do what we want to do. So sometimes sometimes we're really excited and passionate about doing it and want to get ourselves underway and like make a big difference in our golf game. And just for whatever reason, life gets in the way and things don't happen. So when we refer to any kind of obstacles, you'll still treat them relatively the same in any of the tools and frameworks that we use, but obviously they're going to be a little bit different. They'll put you in different places, but how you get through them, you want to have a process and something that's you're consistently using, or have different tools that you can consistently use to get you out and beyond those obstacles. I'm gonna kind of go a little different format than normally, or than what I normally do, than what I normally do each week. So it might be a little like up and down in the flow of how we're going, but I am learning this new way to kind of engage with you guys, and instead of just kind of understanding it, I do want to, it's like perfect opportunity to actually like put it into play when I have you guys live out here, as opposed to just, again, that's probably an obstacle, right? Just knowing how to do something, but never actually doing it. And sometimes the best way is just to do it. So to get us started, excuse me, to get us started, obstacles that comes up and how we look at obstacles, it could be, like we talked about, anything that comes up. It would be any belief we have, any story we have, any just thing we may not even have control over. But at the end of the day, any obstacles that come up and prevent us from doing whatever it is that gives us like the fulfillment that we want, whether it's attaining like that big goal that we want, attaining today's goal that you want, or this week's goal, the season's goal, anything that stops you in your tracks from like getting you closer to that, we would consider an obstacle. So sometimes we get little ones, and other times, we feel like it's the end of the world and they're huge, and like we tell ourselves these things that, oh my gosh, I'll never get through this thing. So first and foremost, like anytime we get anything that comes in the way, any kind of obstacle, I guess we'll call it, right? Any obstacle that prevents us from getting to where we want to get to, we first need to look at it as a mindset. What I mean by that, it's how we're perceiving what the obstacle is. So if you guys, like, tonight would be a great night for you guys to write in your golf journal on, you don't have to write everything that I say, and again, like tools and ways to get you through like the content that we get is just take the things that resonate with you right now and like implement those things, put like the one thing into place. So as I talk, I'll kind of shift gears here and there, but take the things that make sense to you, take the things that you feel are going to serve you like right now and in the future, and those are the things that you want to get moving. So number one, any obstacle that comes in is is an actual mindset of ours, and how we perceive that obstacle is going to ultimately determine how quickly we get to the outcome, or if we even get there at all. So as we keep it in a mindset, we can understand that because it's a mindset, we can also say it's true that any obstacle that comes up is not forever. So any challenges that come up are not forever. And it's going to be our psychology behind it to be able to break through and push through. It's also our mindset that makes us believe that we'll never get to the targets that we want to get because things get too difficult. Also, as we're thinking about it, it's think about the problems that you get, right? Again, going with our mindset, the harder and more difficult problems that start to enter your life, whether it's in your golf game, whether it's in your academics, whether it's in your anywhere in your life, the harder the problems, if you kind of create this mindset that the more difficult the problem that enters in, that means the further like in your life, in your golf, your achievements that you are. Anything that's like constantly coming up that's simple to get through, right? We're at early stages, or we haven't like developed as much. So if we look at it as the more difficult the problem, the more advanced I'm getting in that area. And also think of them as a surprise versus a problem, right? Lots of times we look at obstacles as struggles, as problems. And if you think of, I guess if you're listening here, I can see you here, raise your hand if you guys like surprises. Anybody here like surprises? I like surprises. So if you guys like surprises or kind of like surprises, right? We like surprises after the fact, right? We like surprises that we end up with what we want, right? So who likes birthday presents? Anybody raise your hand if you like birthday presents? Everybody like Christmas presents? Or any kind of present, gifts, right? When you get a box, you don't know what's in it. It's wrapped up nicely. Who's excited? I'm excited. Right? What makes you excited? It's because it's a surprise and you're anticipating what's going to be in the box. Anybody open a box that we think it's a surprise, and maybe it's a food that we can't eat, or it's something that we thought was ours, we opened it up and it was for somebody else. All of a sudden our mindset shifts, right? So just like obstacles, think of them as surprises, and typically we like the surprises that end up in a good outcome, right? Everything else we call problems and struggles. So if we think of them in those terms, right, just change all the struggles that come into your life as surprises, right? And you make the best out of what surprise that comes in. And that little simple tool that I learned over the years, and just like thinking of anything that kind of comes up, and if I get frustrated around or that stops me, is like I just automatically go to like, oh, that's just a surprise that came up, and how do I make the best out of it to get the greatest value out of it? So like, for example, if I had got something that, a present or some kind of box in the mail that I was so excited that I thought it was something, and I opened it and it was something else, and I'm like, oh, wasn't what I wanted. Or, I ordered something else and this came in. And we get, a lot of times we might get like, I've got frustrated in the past where I, excuse me, order things on Amazon and the box comes in and it's the wrong thing, or I ordered it and it's like the right thing, maybe it's for my phone, the right thing, but for the wrong phone. right? The wrong size. And I just didn't pay attention to the detail. And I'm like, I really needed it that day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I was so excited. Then all of a sudden, oh, it's a problem because I needed that. But then it's a mindset again, like if it's a surprise, how can I make opportunity, right? Then, I would say, can I re-gift what I have? It's going to take me time to ship it back, but is there a way that I can reach out to somebody and give this to them because I know it might benefit them, right? I order a handful of books every month from Amazon. I usually do a lot of audio, but sometimes I get books that I ordered by accident and I didn't realize I had them because it's just on a list and I order them and I'm like, oh my gosh, they came in. And again, it's a surprise that I feel like, oh, it's a problem. I just wasted $10 on this book or $15. But then I change it into like, you know what, this book would serve, like this person that I know would actually really like this book. So maybe I'll give it to them, right? And then all of a sudden, the surprise that may have turned into a problem where I like, oh my gosh, I just lost $15 and I lost time because the book I really want is going to come in 2 days instead of like I really wanted to start it today, as opposed to now, oh man, Seiko might like this book, or my brother or a friend of mine might like this and might help them, or they might enjoy, they're into reading this. Maybe I'll just send it to them and surprise them with this, right? And maybe they'll open it and say, what the heck is this in here? I didn't want this. But we're changing like these things that come in unexpectedly and turning them into opportunities, right? And if you can change them into opportunities, that is one of the first steps in overcoming like any like struggle or obstacle that comes in front of us. And here we're talking a lot about golf, right? So as we're working to achieve actual targets, we want to shoot certain scores, we want to win golf tournaments, we want to lead our high school teams, we have aspirations of playing in college, maybe on the PGA, LPGA tour, playing professionally, playing at extremely high level, playing, anywhere, and just kind of have these like goals that are so far out. And we know realistically, like there's so much space between them that things have to come up. And excuse me, right. So we're going to get shocked a ton of the time. So just going in and saying like, as things come up, how can I change all of those things into opportunities, right? And maybe the things that like don't serve me at that point, or maybe I can filter out, I'll just kind of disregard and change the approach and, see what's next. Or maybe it's something I do have to work through and navigate through and get help with. So leave yourself open to those chances. Whenever these obstacles come out, it's going to lead us down a couple different routes. It's either one, it's going to like motivate us to go up, or it discourages us to go down. So anytime something comes up, any obstacle that comes up, it does two things. So if you understand this too, right? Whenever struggles come up, we never stay the same, right? We always are either breaking through, moving forward, or we're going backwards. So we're always having to do something that kind of pushes us in the direction that we want to go. Because if we just do nothing, or if we just stay there, one thing we'll assume and we'll know is we can't just stay there. We are going to be declining down this way, right? Whether it's a skill set that we're trying to develop and break through, or whether it's, a mindset that constantly comes up over and over that frustrates you, right? Eventually, like it stacks up and compounds and then brings you down this, right? So if we don't address those things right away and shift it into like something that is more an opportunity, and how do I turn it into an opportunity so you can start making it go up, right? We're going to end up in two different destinations just by understanding like the route that it can take us. It either takes us forward, right? It motivates us, energizes us, or it discourages us. It exhausts us. It burns us out. It gives us that feeling like, oh, I need a break this week. I just don't want to do it because it's so frustrating. I went to hit balls every single day this week and it's still like, I still can't figure that out. Like maybe I just need a break, right? That all that tells us is what is coming up with that problem is we're not finding the opportunity that's in there to get the solution, right? We might be taking one little thing and just like doing the same step over and over again and hoping that it's going to work. Or maybe we're using too much variety in every single session. We're doing like 10 different things where nothing gets to stick. And like every swing, we're trying something new, right? And then it takes you in the same spot, which then eventually brings um, your frustration or your mindset going more negative, saying like, oh, I can't do this, it's so hard. And you stack that on days on end, right? And then you say, well, I need a break. Typically when we're playing really good golf, and we're hitting the balls really well, we rarely want to take a break because it gives us that energy. It gives us that excitement to want to do it more, because when we see all of these great things and all of these great accomplishments that we're doing, oh my gosh, I hit it this far. Oh my gosh, I hit it this much more solid. I shot this score. I won my golf tournament today. It makes you want to do it again because you want to repeat the process and get to wherever it is that you want to get to faster. So when we look at obstacles and overcoming obstacles, obstacles are never the challenge, right? Look at them as overcoming obstacles is a specific skill set that you want to develop, right? Because it's a mindset, and we understand that obstacles are forever. Obstacles never go away. Challenges never go away. Problems never go away. So if we have that mindset that says like, I just don't like problems, I don't like obstacles, I don't like challenges, it's too hard, right? We just haven't fully understood the situation around what's going on, because it doesn't matter where you're at, how successful you get. You can look at the number one player on the PGA Tour, LPGA Tour, college golfer, junior golfer in the world, and they all have struggles in their own way in skills. They have struggles in mindset. They have struggles like in everyday things, right? So even at that, right, it never really goes away. And if we're looking to like not have problems, not have struggles, not have obstacles, then we're going to get disappointed every time. Every time they show up, we'll look at them as a problem, as opposed to a nice surprise that we can turn into an opportunity. So the number one skill that like you guys want to be getting is, how do I become the best problem solver? How do I become the best obstacle overcomer ever, right? How can I just get more tools, more skills, so the more things that come in, I can just get through them faster, right? And the name of the game is, the more problems, the more struggles, the more the more problems, the more struggles, the more things and obstacles you get through, the faster you go up in any career that you're doing, whether it's golf, whether it's your school, your studies, your academics, just your excitement in life. The more things that you can go over and over and over and overcome them, right, the better you are and the better you'll be in that area. If you look at anybody who's world's best, right, the best golfer in the world, or maybe in our era, we can look at Tiger Woods, right? Tiger Woods has achieved so much. He's one of the most winning golf players like to ever have played the game, right? Also Jack Nicklaus, him and Jack Nicklaus are kind of like always like compared to each other. Who's the best golfer of all time, Tiger or Jack, right? How many majors did somebody win? How many tournaments, right? And we're kind of looking at like scores. They're comparing against types of fields. But if you just look at those two players by themselves, the reason why they're in a category like outside of everybody else, and you look at how many problems and struggles and obstacles that they overcame, we can guarantee that 100% they've overcome more problems and obstacles than anybody else in their entire field, right? You can also look at any other sports, soccer, football. Look at the best players in the world. What gets them to number one is their ability to get through more problems and more obstacles than anybody else in their field. You can see it in the world of business. The people that are the most successful, they have gotten through a ton more problems than everybody else in the field that they're in. So look at obstacles and challenges as opportunities, because the moment you can get through and overcome that one and get to the next problem, right? It's how fast can I get to the next problem so I can overcome that one? And then how fast can I get through that to get to the next one, right? So now as I stack all of these things, now we start making tremendous progress in the right direction. Look at any time that that we want to take a break. What's the one thing that makes us frustrated and kind of like had enough and tired of it is we're stuck on the one struggle or problem that we have in front of us, or the obstacle that we have, and we can't get through it. And we take that one for an entire week, the entire problem for a month, the entire problem for 6 months. And that's what becomes frustrating, because we can't get through that one struggle or that one problem, right? So turn them into opportunities and surprises, and make them into opportunities, so you can think a little bit more clearer to find the solution, and get resourceful to get yourself through those problems and off to the next one. Because as you get through each of these problems or obstacles, the difficulty gets better. Or I'm sorry, it doesn't get better. The difficulty gets harder. So think about just academics in general, with whatever grade that you might be in, or if you get to college, right? Or if you're past college, or think about first grade to second grade, the problems and struggles that you get. And first grade is hard at the time, but they're easy once you get to the second grade because you've already done it, right? If you get into high school, think about all the elementary school problems that you've had. They're super simple, but at the time they were really difficult. So as soon as you break through these problems and you look backwards, then all of a sudden it shows your growth. So be the problem solver and be really good at that. So even for me, right, I'm not perfect. I don't think anybody's perfect, right? And I get my own obstacles, right, and struggles that come up. Like even for me, like currently right now, I've been working on trying to shoot like a whole training video, like a 15-minute training video for golf, right? And for me, that's hard. And I find that as my number one obstacle now in my development, because I can talk to you guys here for an hour and a half. And now that I don't have an audience, right? I'm just trying to film something so I can share it with you guys, share with our other students on like how to better their game. But then like, I have this phone up on a stand like this, and it's pointing at me. And even though I know the entire script and what to say, like my mind goes blank, and then I might stutter a little bit, then I stop, and then I can't get through it. And just shooting a little 15-minute video for me, like I haven't made it through 15 minutes yet. I've probably gone, and I haven't done it enough, but I've probably gone through about maybe 1 hour's worth so far total, like combined, right? In little sections that maybe 5 minutes I'm trying to get it, and I can't even get my introduction out. And then I'm like, oh man, I just gotta sit down. I need a break, right? It's the same things we all go through. It's like that frustration. That's like 5 minutes of looking at the camera, going back, hitting stop and record, stop, because I stop. And 5 minutes gets me like, oh my gosh, I gotta sit down. I gotta leave, walk around, clear my head. I'm trying to get anything to get back in there, come back in, but it's about an hour's worth, and I still haven't got 15 minutes, right? I've gotten to I actually tried to film some this morning before I got to the course this morning. So I woke up extra early this morning, and I was trying to film some at 6 o'clock this morning, and I had a 30-minute window. So I was like, okay, if I can get 15 minutes and 30 minutes, that would be like amazing. So I set that thing up, and I'm going, and like I get into basically in 30 minutes, I got who I am and what I do. I didn't even get to help anybody, because that is my obstacle right now. And right now it seems like the most difficult thing in the world, because I'm looking at it and I don't understand. Like I have my notes like this, and I'm looking at my notes and I'm reading them. Okay, it's like I know what to say, and I'm trying to figure this out. I was like, why do I get stuck? And like all these thoughts are going into my head that's preventing me to continue with the actual strategy that I want to give and share. And even for me, I understand the process, and that also that's what makes it frustrating. Sometimes, like in your golf swing, how many of you know what we're supposed to work on in your golf swing and know how to do it, but we can't connect it on that same level. We can't deliver it on what we know, right? And if we're thinking this is what we know up here, and we deliver it down here, this gap here is the amount of frustration that we have, right? If it's something that we know conceptually, like I know how to swing it and it's like this, and you actually hit the shot right now, your delivery matches, right? And you think, oh, that's great success. Sometimes you're like, oh, I want to hit it like this, hit it this far, aim it at that pole at 100 yards. And then we hit the pole, and all of a sudden, like, boom, it's above your expectation because you didn't expect to actually hit the pole, right? You're trying to hit the pole, but it's above. And when it exceeds your expectation, makes you more excited. But how many times we've like, oh, I sliced it or I topped it, and we're down here. The further off from what you're thinking in your head, right, the more frustration that you get, right? The ones that are landing, 5 feet from it, right, it's pretty close. 10 feet might be here. 20 feet might be here, depending on your capabilities, right? If it's bouncing all over the pole, then you're like here, right? And you're getting excited to do it more. So, your ability to overcome them brings up your excitement. But like, even for me, like just like golf tips and golf tools, right? We often know how to do them. It's just finding the right path to get you to deliver on the level that you want to be or that you're thinking of. And so like for me, shooting these 15-minute training videos, I was like, okay, I want to do 15 minutes because that was advice given to me. Somebody told me that if you're gonna do anything, you need to do it for between 10 and 20 minutes. Don't do it less than 10 minutes. And it's people that have shot video, right? And put it like online and shared it. And, and they said like the sweet spot might be like in this time, the sweet spot of time is going to be like 12 to 15 minutes. So I was like, well, let's see if we can get 15 minutes. So I know the time. I even understand the obstacles that are coming out, right? I understand that when that camera's facing me like this, internally, like I'm feeling like, oh, what do I sound like? Oh, I sound kind of weird. Am I saying like weird stuff? Are people even going to watch it? And all of these things that are like coming in my head as this thing's facing me. And, even though I know that's the number one reason why, excuse me, I stutter or I stop or I lose my train of thought where I like, oh, what? I just gave my like who I am and what I do. And I totally forgot what this video was about, right? But I was just preparing for the last couple of days, like reading, like, what do I have to do and what am I talking about? And I spent time there and I know what to do. And I even have advice, like advice would be, don't be so judgmental on yourself, right? If you think about how you're going to get judged as that camera's facing at you, right? Then you're going to be too critical. You forget what you do. So I know like, that's what I'm doing and I know I'm doing it. And then the answer is, okay. The answer was on coaching advice that I got was, oh, just talk to the camera like you see somebody on the other side. And like if you're coaching anybody or teaching anybody live in person, right, you're talking to them and you don't care what you sound like. You're trying to help them. You're trying to get them to their next level. And that's how you do it. So pretend you're looking at that person, pretending you're talking, and put yourself in a place that you are more excited to deliver content and help others than worry about how people view what you're saying or whether anybody's going to do it or watch it and what anybody's going to think about it. Was that crazy stuff that he said, right? Because now it goes, I might send it out to people that I might share with people that I don't know, right? So I know all of this stuff, but yet the same thing comes out, right? So how do I get through that? It's thinking of strategy and tools that I'm going to kind of share with you this evening, and how I'm getting through it now, and how I have, different approaches on, like, so when I shoot, I'm going to, after this tonight, I'm going to spend a little bit of time trying to record a 15-minute video. Is it realistic now that I'm going to actually get a version, like a full final version of it done? No, but I know it's going to be super realistic that I'm going to get a full version out, and then I can look back, right? So a lot of times we've got to look at the approach that we're taking. And, as I discovered and talked to some people, like, I'm having to change my approach, even though I know what I'm doing, what's causing me to stop, what I need to do. My approach has to change. Every time I get stuck, I stop, I go to my cameras, click stop, go back around, then click record, come back in, right? As opposed to now what I have to do is I just have to go through the entire thing, start to finish, even if I get stuck, even if I stop, even if I gotta like grab my note thing and look at this and bring this back down to kind of bring me back in, right? Because as much versions as I thought I did, I was like, mate, I've done, must have 50 takes on this thing, and I couldn't get through the introduction. I'm rating myself on, I've attempted 50 times, but at the end of the day, I didn't even get through my first version, because my first version would have been start to finish, where I can see everything in my intro, who I am, what I'm going to do, the tools and strategies that I want to share with people to get them to better their golf game, and like maybe, and the number one thing that they should be doing after, like put into place, and just get all of that done. And maybe that might take me of a recording session like this for 45 minutes, but I'll get through all of it. Right now I can look back and see, where am I getting stuck? And, now I have version 1. So as you look at, like, what are we doing in golf? If you're trying to achieve a specific, outcome, and we're working on how to hit a certain shot or hit it more solid, think about how many times you get stuck on like a short little process before going through like or like a short little component of the process, as opposed to just going through the entire process one time and then going back for feedback. Sometimes we often like correct ourselves or judge ourselves or give us feedback like before it even happens or as it happens, instead of going through it all, right? The most common thing that I hear is people that just don't want to play golf because they feel that they're not ready, right? I got to hit it better, right? We never actually are ready for the course. And it doesn't matter how good you hit it, you're going to put yourself in a place. The underlying issue is more that you just have this expectation of how to hit it, but and because you can't hit it at that expectation, you feel we're not ready for the golf course. So we say, I'm going to stay on the range for a little bit more to master this area. Once I can do it, then I'll be ready for the course. But what happens is they spend a month there. They actually hit it to where they thought they need to hit it, but as they get better, right, their expectation always also goes up. So now there's still this gap. And so they're like, well, I'm still not hitting it where I want to hit it. And as good as I want to hit it, I'm going to spend another month here. Right? And they start hitting it better and gets closer. And then their expectation goes up. And there's this gap. And they're like, I'm still not ready. Maybe I don't know how to putt yet. Or I don't know how to chip yet. Right? As they get closer like this, and expectation goes. So they're always having this gap and not actually knowing like the reality behind it. Right? So then that's the number one reason why you might see players, or if you have friends that play golf that feel that they're not ready and have been doing golf for over a year and have never been on the golf course, is because, and have that feeling of, they're not ready, it's just because they're stopping themselves from actually doing version 1 of what they need to do, which is play golf, and then see what is it that I need to do so I have a realistic baseline of what it is that I need to get to, then play. So yeah, so that's definitely one of the obstacles that's in my life right now. One of the things that I'll share is like just shooting, like doing these little live calls here. Like we have it in meeting style where I can see you guys and you can see me a lot more comfortable. Our other style that we do is more like a training style where I can't see you guys, but you guys are in a chat, right? But doing this stuff online where I can, you know, connect with students and people that's outside and give you guys strategies, mindsets, give you guys implementation tools of like what to do next. You know, this year or like in the last 8 months, that's brand new to me, right? And in the beginning, if you had asked me in September, I was super nervous on like, that was like my obstacle is like, I understand how to do it and I understand the principle behind all of it, but at the end of the day, I just have to do it so I know exactly, you know, what it is that I have to do. And then I can go from there and I can implement stuff. So, you know, shooting these little things and going live here, that was an obstacle back in, what's that, 6-7 months ago. And now it's easy for me to come on here and chat with you guys and be comfortable. And like in the beginning, like maybe I still look tense. I don't know, right? But I feel a ton better, right? I can laugh a little bit. I can move a little bit more instead of like, I'm just in the beginning. I remember like trying to focus so much. I'm like looking at the camera up here and like, okay, make sure I don't get distracted. And like kind of looking back at my first ones, like my facial expressions were a lot more tense and I'm like, look more worried as I'm talking, but definitely I'm more comfortable because I've done it, right? This is versions in, right? So since then, this is probably 25 hours worth of content that I've been on here so far in the last 6 months, right? Which gives me that level of comfort. But in the beginning, right, I didn't, like, it took me a while to want to get started, even though I knew how to do it, right? So that was the obstacle. What did I have to do? I just had to like do it, right? It's that same thing that I get feeling now when I'm like trying to shoot this like training video, right? 15 minutes. It's the same like internal thoughts and feelings that's preventing me from getting there. But you know, one of the big things is just like the complexity of it. When I first wanted to do like these calls, it's like I go look online and I want to create the perfect one, and I'm seeing 3-4 different versions of like we're using Zoom right here, but there's 3-4 different versions out there, and I'm trying to look reviews and I'm looking at pricing. I'm like, which one's going to be better? And I'm trying to like see who's using what, trying to go on forums and communities that I'm in and see what other people are doing. And then I'm looking at like, okay, how do I coach online where I'm talking to a camera and talking to people? How do I get them to listen? How do I filter content in a sequence? So I'm learning structure on how to present things and how to, you know, put in the implementation tools to connect it to like what I'm trying to share with you guys through story. And like, I have all of these things going on. I have these frames of like how I'm supposed to present. I have these frames on like, you know, even how I use like body and hand language to like loosen myself up, how to do just everything. And now I have this big complex story that I have in front of me of all the different types of online stuff, all the different like sequences of how I'm going to be like teaching on here and getting my message across, all the things that keep me relaxed. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, like I don't know where to start. And you know, you guys ever felt, even in golf, like there's so many things that I need to do and you don't even do one of them, right? You're trying to find what's that perfect one to do so I can get there, or I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to like mess this one up, and you're trying to perfect it when in order to perfect something, you just got to like do it so you can revise it and make it better, right? So for me, right, the first thing that I had to do is I just had to schedule it and put it on and email everybody saying, we're going to go and do these live trainings on these days. Here's the schedule. Boom. Right now I have something that's forcing me to pick a platform to use. It's forcing me to practice, to get things done. And the closer it gets to before that first one, right, I'm getting more nervous because like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready. But then, you know, you just kind of go in and you deliver it. So complexity is one of the biggest things that prevents us from even taking any kind of action. So, you know, next few minutes here, I do want to share with you guys a couple tools that help me and how to make things less complex, right? How to figure out what is that next thing that I need to be doing, right? So, you know, one other thing was for me, like I'm at the golf course all the time. I'm in the golf industry the last 12 years, and I've been, you know, teaching and coaching golf for the last 12 years. And in the beginning, I just didn't play that much golf, right? And it's been more conditioned, and everybody in the industry says, well, if you come into the golf industry, don't expect to play lots of golf because you're going to be here sun up to sundown. You're not going to want to play, right? And you just won't have time. And, you know, I believed it for a while until one day it's like, why did I get into the golf industry? Why did I want to help people and share my story? Because of the impact that it made in like my junior golf development. You know, why did I specialize and pick and choose to work with junior golfers more than adults? Because the impact that it made in my life as a junior golfer and where it took me, you know, in my life. It took me to, you know, the path that I went down to where I met Seiko. We got married, we have Charlotte, right? It took me down to where I'm at. And so, you know, understanding that part is like, well, all of those stories, all of that stuff was just other people's belief, other people's stories. So getting yourself in there and just getting super clear, getting clear on, you know, what is it that you want to get out of it, what is it that's going to fulfill you, what is like the actual outcome that you want to get, and then you're kind of designing your way back there, getting a sense of like clarity. So, you know, one of the tools is just a clarity tool. How do you get clear on what it is that you want? Because if you don't know what it is that you want, then that's one of the biggest like complexities that you'll have, because you kind of want to play good golf. To play good golf, you can do a million different things, a million different swings. You can play, somebody might tell you play every week. Somebody might say like, you got to space it out. You got to give yourself breaks. Sometimes you got to say play every single day. You hear all these different advice, and it's great advice. It just, you don't know when it's good for you, right? And you don't know the sequence of that progression of that great advice. Is it good for me now, or is it good for me later? Or was it good for me like last month or last year at that other stage? Did I outgrow that advice, right? So getting yourself super clear on what it is that you want, right? So gets you to be clear. So for me, what is it that I wanted? The one thing that was missing is I wanted to play more golf, right? I need to play more golf, right? How do I expect to tell people to practice and play more golf if I can't even live that lifestyle? And so then I start playing more golf, right? And like at our course, they've been so generous and kind that they typically, if I ask them, they would let me play whenever I want if it's open. But the standard is, you know, you can play early in the morning before the first tee time, or at the end of the day after the last tee time. So you have these two extremes. And I was doing that for a while. And occasionally, if I have guests that come into town, I want to play like at midday, like a nice time, right? I would ask for favors. And, you know, the course was so generous and nice that they would say, yeah, of course, go ahead and we'll book this time. But it's always asking for these favors, right? But then stories come in, it's like, man, I don't want to play that early in the morning when it's freezing cold. I don't want to play that late in the afternoon. So maybe I can't play golf, right? Because now where do I play, right? Again, it's stories that come in, and how do I turn that into more of opportunities? And looking back on like thinking what's most important to me, what's most clear, that at the end of the day is like, how do I just play more golf? Well, if I just pay for golf whenever I want to play, that opens up every single window, right? It was like in the past, it wasn't even a consideration. I want to go play for free. I want to play in the morning. I want to play in the evening. I want to play anytime, ask for favors. And like, that was my belief. Like, I'm in the golf industry, I should play for free. And if I can't play for free, and if I feel like I'm asking for favors, then I won't play at that time. And the reality is, if I really want to go play golf, just go and pay for the time that I want to play, right? It was as simple as that, right? So it gave me ways to understand like, well, I want to play golf every week. So when do I want to play? Well, some days I can play early. Some days I go play late 9 holes, but there's days that I want to go play at 9 in the morning. I'll just go ahead and book a time at 9 in the morning and go pay for it, right? And as easy as that sounds, like all of these beliefs that come in, like I just wasn't clear on what it is that I wanted out of it, other than I just wanted to play golf. I didn't know how much golf I wanted to play, right? And as soon as I got clear on that, then it was like a total game changer. So now it doesn't matter if I'm in the golf industry or if I work at a golf course, I just go and play whenever I want to play, and I go play where I want to play. So as we go into like this little tool, the few things that you want to do is like, as you try to figure out like, how do you get clear on certain things, there's 4 parts to it. You want to get, number 1, you want to get clear on the exact result that you want to get, right? So the exact result that you want to get is not going to be like, I want to hit it better. The exact result is going to be, I want to hit it like this. I want to hit it 150 yards with the ball drawing right to left within this window, right? Or even getting a step further, I want to be able to shoot even par from the forward tee markers at my home golf course, right? And then it gets you to build backwards, like the skills you need, but you get super clear on that. That's number 1. Like a lot of times we just have too vague and broad goals that we have. Second is, and it's just as important as the first one, second is like, you want to be super clear and have clarity around your current situation. And we talked about this. I often talk about this, but where is it that you are like today in your golf game? Like if you don't know where you're at right now, you could know where you want to be in the future. And if you have no perspective of where you're at here, then you'll be working on the wrong tools and you wouldn't know. And the easiest way is you have to be keeping metrics. You have to be keeping like the scores that you're shooting. You have to be keeping like the successes that you have, like what areas am I doing well? And when I say well, like what is well? When I play really good and I hit really good shots, or when I have these really good outcomes, like what do those look like? If you don't know what those good shots look like, all right, again, you don't have the perspective that you need. But you also have to know like what typically comes out. What does my game look like? Like if it's not good, like what comes out most of the time? When I say most of the time, on average, 75 or more percent of the time, what are the shots that come out? Because that is what you're trying to move. If I know what comes out on average, I can move the average closer, to the target that I want to get. So we often don't have clear enough metrics on where we're at now in order to understand what's the actual gap. We look at like, I'm able to hit the shots that get me here, so I'll just do more of it, as opposed to I'm able to hit these, but my average shots keep me down here. I got to figure out how to move my average and fill the gap this way, right? And third, get clarity on the development of like what you're designing. So that would be like your practice, the process on filling in the gap. This is where I want to be. This is where I'm at. What's the process of me? What do I have to do next to kind of take these steps to get all the way up, right? What does that process look like? And if you have this map of like, for me to get to even par from the forward tee markers at, let's say it's 5,000 yards for 18 holes, where am I at right now? Where am I playing from? If I'm playing from the same markers and I'm shooting 45, I have to drop 9 shots to shoot even par. Where do I see the shots adding up? Is it, typically on average, I can save 3 shots in putting because of typically three times from inside 15 feet, right? Or, maybe I tend to, lose 2 to 3 shots every time I play by hitting it out of bounds. I can't keep my ball out. I lose 2, 3 balls when I get to the course, right? That might give me, right? So it gives you little things of where are those 9 shots adding up from? That's going to get me there. And you relate them to skills, right? And now you can start to see, like, do I have a clear picture on what gets me to the end? Because if you don't, if you're just saying, I just got to hit it better, I got to hit the ball and make it draw a little bit, I got to make it go further, then you're going to have a really difficult time because you could be hitting it further and not getting closer to the end. You have to know, like, well, how is this going to get you to the goal that you want if it's score related, right? And finally, it's your intention. You need to be super clear on the intention that you want and that you want to set. What's the intention that you want to set for your day of practice? What is the intention that you want to set for yourself for like that whole achievement process of filling that gap, right? And not just show up, right? And the easiest way to set your intention is just create different identities for yourself, right? Everybody has an identity already. We all kind of view ourselves as this type of person. And as much as I want you to believe in, like, stay true to yourself, like the person that you are now, you also need to create separate identities in different aspects of your life. If you're hanging out with friends, you have a different identity than if you are, hanging out with your parents, right? You might be a little bit open with your friends, more playful with your friends, and a little bit more strict with like conversations that you have with your parents, things that you want to talk about, that you might be more comfortable talking about, right? Identities, where you have different identities with different peers that you have or different friends you have at school. You have different identities when you talk to teachers, different teachers, right? We have relationships with teachers. So there's some teachers that you kind of are more timid with and you don't want to ask, and you have this identity, and you have others that you're super comfortable with, and then you have a different identity, right? We just don't know, we're shifting identities. So you need to get super clear on the identity that's going to get you to break through these obstacles that come up in this process. So, again, it's still looking at what identity am I showing up with when I go and play golf. Is it the one that just has fun playing golf? Is it the fun identity? Is me having fun, is that going to make me break through? Or do I have to create a new identity? Do I have to create like the driven Tiger Woods identity for that one 30-minute block of time, and then go back to being fun, right? It doesn't mean you shift your whole personality. It's just understanding, like, who is it that I need to be in this block and in this window in order to get through, right? And we start creating, your ultimate identity of, like, for me to be the golfer that I want, like, what kind of identity, if I'm shooting 45 and I want to shoot 36, what is my identity now as 45, and what does it, like, what identity do I need to have it at 36? Because there's going to be, like, am I more excited? Am I going to be more pumped to play golf? Am I going to want to practice more, right? Because if you can just jump straight into the identity, that fast tracks your way to put in the time, put in the effort, and get you there, right? So this little clarity tool is huge, and I love this thing because I'm always using it on myself, as frequent as possible, every single month in certain areas, right? Every single quarter in certain areas of my life, that I'm always asking myself and writing this in my journal, like, where am I at? Like, what is the result that I'm looking for? What is my current situation now? Am I super clear on the map to get there? And who am I right now and who do I need to be to get there? And if I can put all of those things together, right, then all of a sudden, you know, you become unstoppable. There's things that you guys have done in your life that you have, you know, overcome, like got to a problem or a struggle or an obstacle, and then you got through it super quickly and you were like excited and happy about it, like, but you just didn't know the process of what you went. And this is kind of breaking it down and using this clarity tool to get you to design your way to work through these struggles here and obstacles. So I do want to get a hot seat in here. I know we're getting close to the time, but I have one more tool that I want to share with you guys too. But I want to get, you know, one of you guys on here, at least to share and see how we can, I'll show you how to implement like this tool right now. So we'll get Alexa here. And Alexa?
Yeah.
All right, so Miss Alexa, what's one thing right now that you're struggling with, that like you see as an obstacle that you're having? Well, it could be anything, but we'll keep it to golf so you can see too how you're gonna relate this. But I'm gonna show how we can implement like just this tool of this clarity tool to start building into how you get through any of the obstacles that you have. So what's one thing that you feel like is an obstacle in your golf life right now? Oh, hold on. Oh, there you go.
Probably getting the ball in the air when I'm hitting my driver.
Getting the ball in the air when you're hitting your driver. Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be the obstacle. So let's say number one, right? If you use like our clarity tool, like you first need to ask yourself, what is the result that you want?
To get it up in the air.
Okay. And have you ever hit the ball up in the air?
Yeah.
And if you hit it up in the air, what happens?
It goes further.
Okay. Oh, got it. Have you ever hit it up in the air and then not go very far?
Oh, that's not sure. No. Wait. Yes.
Yes. So you got to get really clear on the result that you want. So
Yeah.
again, we need to know, we need to get up in the air, but maybe you might say, I need to hit it at a certain height, right? So maybe there's a driving range that you practice at, and it's like, my ball's got to go that high. It's got to go this far, but it's not even height that you're looking for, right? You're looking for, sounds like you're looking for distance. So your result is not really height. The clarity that you need is you need distance.
Okay. Yeah.
So when you look at, okay, if you hit it further, your scores go down and you have better opportunity to score less. You have to be clear on the result that you want. How far do you want to hit the ball?
With my driver?
Yes.
Like 180, 200 yards.
Okay. So you want to be extremely clear on that, right? So let's say you want to hit it 200 yards. So if we know that would be like the result. I need to hit my ball. Excuse me. I need to hit the ball 200 yards. And that is the result that I want. And as we continue going, like, what is your current situation? Meaning, how far are you hitting it now?
Like 150, 160-ish, somewhere in that range.
Sure. So you're looking at your current situation is 150 to 160. You want to hit it 180 to 200.
Mm-hmm.
Just for terms or ease, we'll just say you average 150. You want to hit it 200. You want to gain 50 yards of driving distance. So now you're clear on the result you want. You're clear on where you're at. Now you have to be super clear on developing your design of like, how do you gain 50 yards with your driver from where you're currently at, right? So now the process is going to be, one, you could hit it higher than you're at, right? And you need to know like how high and how you're going to hit it high, right? And the shape, because does the shape matter?
Yeah.
Right. So if you hit it high with a specific shape, right, you're looking at that as one of the process to hit gaining 50 yards. Also, it's going to be, what else would you say would give you more distance?
Hooking it.
Okay, that's kind of going with the shape. So let's just say higher. Shape or the curve, hooking it would be another part of the process. What else could it be?
Like hitting it solid.
Hitting it solid, perfect. That would be another one. Does it make a big difference whether you hit it in the center of the club face versus the top or the toe or the heel, or the bottom in distance?
Yeah, because if you hit it in the center, it's more direct contact.
Perfect. So you have another thing in that process. What else could make you go further?
I don't know. I can't think of anything else right now.
Okay. What do you think? What is a big difference between like you and Tiger Woods?
Um,
What do you think he does that you can't do right now?
Hit it really hard.
Okay, so hit it harder. So what do you
Yeah.
think that translates to?
Wait, what do you mean?
So if he can hit it harder than you, what does that tell you? He's what?
Hitting it further?
Okay, and then more like what physically does he have more than you?
Oh, strength.
So maybe he's strength. So strength might be another thing, right?
Yeah.
And if you're stronger, what does that actually do to make you hit it further? Does it do anything to the golf club
No.
if you're stronger?
Wait, well, yeah.
What does that do?
Makes you hit the ball like harder.
And
So
if you
more.
right,
What?
and if you hit, yeah, that's great, right? And if you hit the ball harder and it goes further, like when you hit it harder, what does that do to make it go further?
Wait, what do you mean?
So if you're hitting the ball harder, how does
Yeah,
it actually translate into making it go further?
I don't know. Um,
So if
I
you
don't
hit it
know.
hard and Tiger hits it hard,
Yeah,
you both give 100% hard,
yeah.
what would be the main difference,
Oh, how far it goes.
right? The distance going to be a big one, but like, how is the difference? Like, why is the distance going to be so great?
Because he's hitting it harder or harder than I am.
How would you know? Like, how would you be able to measure if it's harder than you?
I don't know.
What about speed?
Oh, that too, yeah.
Okay. So kind of settling back and figuring out that process, right? So now we kind of have a few different things, right? We have to go from to gain 50 yards of distance, right? We know where your result is. I want to get 200 yards. You're currently at 150. Now your design to get there is you can hit it higher, you can make it draw, you can hit it in the center of the club face, you can get stronger, you can swing it faster. So we have 5 different things. So when we talk about complexity, if you're thinking in your head, okay, I got to swing it harder, swing it faster, hit it high, make it draw, and I'll gain the yardage. Would that be pretty complex to do in one swing?
Yeah.
And if you continue to think, okay, hit it harder, hit it higher, swing it faster, make it draw, how long would that last if you're frustrated?
Not very long.
Not very long, right? So when we kind of go backwards a little bit to complexity, like that's where I talk about complexity. Like we may have the process down, but you writing it down on a piece of paper like shows you like, here's my result, here's my current situation. This is all the things that I need to do to like get my 50 yards. And maybe as you're going through the process, you're going to learn from maybe a coach, a mentor, or somebody else. oh, maybe I need something else as well. Maybe this will get me faster, but you have like a very, very designed plan to get there. And then you can say, like, out of all of these things, what is like the one thing that you can do and commit to make sure you can get you the most distance. So out of everything, what would give you the biggest return on distance in your opinion? Hit it higher, make it draw, hit it more solid in the center, get stronger, or more speed?
What was the question I cut off?
Oh, so out of all of those different like design tools that you have, like what would give you the biggest return on distance? Is it
Oh,
hitting it higher, making it
uh,
draw, hit it in the center, get stronger, or swing it faster?
probably hitting it in the center.
Perfect. So now if you had your next session that you practiced and your only focus was, okay, I need to be able to hit it in the center 90% of the time before I go to the next one, would that be easier to digest where now every strategy and tool and swing thing that you're working on, tactical thing, revolves around you hitting it in the center more than, again, it's always taking this tool and you can use it in every aspect. You need to be clear on like, where am I hitting it now? I know I want to hit it in the center. That would be result. Now, where am I hitting it? Am I hitting it, if I hit 100 balls, do I hit it all, some on the toe, some in the center, some on the heel, some on the bottom, some on the top, and it's like all over the place? You would have to know like how much of it that you're hitting everywhere. Or if you're hitting a ton of balls, like 100 balls, do I hit half of them in the center and the other half's always on the toe, or the other half is always on the bottom? Kind of see where we're going with this?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You need to be clear, but if you want to hit it solid, you need to know where you're currently hitting it. So now you can pick the right strategy or tactic to say, if I'm always hitting it on the toe, I'm going to work on this. If I'm always hitting it on the heel, I'm working on this. If I'm hitting it like I don't even know where it's going to happen, it could go anywhere, right? It might be a totally different tactical motion that you're working on because of certain inconsistencies that are coming up, but it drives like the actual thing that you're going to work on, right? And then finally, once you kind of saying like, well, I need to first hit it. If I hit it in the center, it takes my average from 150 to like that 160. It gives me 10 yards back just by hitting it in the center more often. I get you that much closer. So now all of a sudden you gain 10 yards just by hitting in the center, and you need to create your identity around it. Like when I come and I just hit balls, like who am I showing up as? Am I just showing up as Alexa, the person that is scheduled to golf 3 times a week? Or am I showing up as the excited, determined, super Alexa that is gonna be able to go in these like 5 or 10 minute spurts of like going all in and figuring out like I'm gonna just be focused for 5 minutes and work on this tool and drill, and then I'll analyze and be very, maybe you need to be the disciplined Alexa. Maybe you need to be maybe you need team around it and have friends like you hit balls and go back and forth. Like I can't tell you who your identity is going to be to do it, but you know yourself best. All you know is you have to have something a little bit more specific, and you have to go into that, tap into that, realm. Like think about, if you hit everything perfect in the center of the club face, what does that make you feel like, right? What kind of name can you give yourself for that person that if you never miss hit the golf ball, who's that person, right? That's the person that you need to be when you're practicing in that session. That kind of makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how you use this little clarity tool, right? The result, the ultimate result you're looking at, the current situation that you're in, your design, the clarity of your design so you can select what you want, and create the clarity on your intention. So really, really good. Thanks for sharing that, Alexa.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, awesome. And so I know I did want to share one more, but I will share on another night with you guys all, because I know I'm tapping into all of your guys' time. So in our session this week on overcoming our obstacles, right? Obstacles are a mindset. Um, if you switch our mindset to understand that obstacles are forever, right? I'm always going to get obstacles no matter what level I get. You can accept the ones that come in, and you can change these obstacles that you might call problems and frustrating moments where you say, I can't do these things, and you turn them into opportunities on like, well, how do I get through this faster so I can get to my next one, right? Totally different mindset, totally different excitement level that you're getting, right? Think about overcoming obstacles as a skill set, right? If you become the master at overcoming obstacles, then you get to where you want to go faster than anybody else, faster than you've ever. And when I say anybody, it's not necessarily against like your peers, but it would be against also your previous self. Like if it takes me these big struggles that comes out, if it takes me 1 month to get through them, I want to get through them in 3 weeks next time when I get the same, like these big struggles that I feel like. And tap into that, right? I want to be that person. So you can be better than your previous self, and understand that our obstacles, depending on the route it takes us on two routes. It either takes us to be motivated and driven. We've all hit parts and struggles that we have such a compelling future that like, man, if I get through this, it's going to be so good on the other side. And that pulls you straight through, and you get more exciting even though it's difficult. But then we also get the ones that are difficult and we can't see yourself getting through it, and those are the ones we get discouraged, because then we're just showing up and going through the motions and going through the time and the practice and the effort without connecting it to being compelling at the end and seeing that compelling future. And it gives us more discouragement, which then leads to being more tired, more exhausted, not really wanting to be there, other than like, well, if I spend more time, I should get through. Whereas like, no, I'm coming here to break through this one big hurdle that has been holding me back the last day. The one big hurdle that I saw in this week's round, the one big hurdle that I've been struggling on the last 3 weeks, the last month, the last year, whatever that is. I need to just get through that and, change the route and go and make it into a more, motivating route. So you gain energy as you go through, as opposed to just, being discouraged by what comes up in front of us. If you get discouraged, it pulls you down, and then we don't take the action that we need. We don't think clearly in how we need to approach that, and we just kind of show up hoping that it goes away, and typically it never does. So then we default to do like, I'm just going to do things that I succeed easy at, where I don't have to think that much, I don't have to work that much, and I'm just going to do that, as opposed to like working on the most valuable piece that's going to get you through. So tackle those obstacles. Learning our one little tool tonight is just our little clarity tool. So if you're not doing it already, the number one thing is like, look at those 4 things in our clarity tool. Like, how clear am I in the result that I want? How clear am I on where I'm at right now within the results, so I can see that gap there? How clear am I on the steps or the process that's going to get me to fill the gap? And how clear am I on the identity that I need to be at the result versus the identity that's keeping me here, right? Start off tonight by just finding the one thing that resonates to you the most out of those 4, and journal that down. Maybe tonight is the night that, I never thought about identity. That's kind of new to me. The other stuff, like I know my result, it's kind of in my head. I kind of know where I'm at. I'm pretty good. I'm working on certain things. Maybe I won't write that now, right? I want to spend a little bit of time on, like, I've never heard identity before. I never thought of it that way. Maybe let's write down who's my identity now that's keeping me at the level that I'm at, and create the identity that I need to be to get the result that I want, right? Maybe start there. Or maybe like, I've never thought that specifically on how clear the result that I wanted. Maybe I just start hitting it further, or maybe I just start playing better. what does that better look like, right? And get as detailed as possible and spend 5 to 10 minutes tonight, just that one thing that resonates to you the most, and like write that down and see that all the time. And, you know, complete use this clarity tool to design your way out of the obstacles, right? People don't accidentally like break through struggles or break through roadblocks, right? It's be super strategic to not let chance take you through. Like the moment, say like, oh man, I'm struggling with this, right? I want to shoot, like I've been playing and all of a sudden last 3 rounds I've been shooting like 45 and I want to get it to 37 or 36 or 39. Like, why am I shooting? Like, I want to shoot 37. I'm shooting 45. Where's the shots adding up to, and what skills will save me those shots? Get that clarity out. What identity am I in that's keeping me at 45 versus have I shot 37 before? If I did, what's that identity look like? If I've never shot it, what would it feel like if I shot 37? Kind of imagine and kind of go through that process and learn this frame. So anytime something comes out, the first thing you do, struggle comes or something hard comes, you go, boom, what's the result? Where am I at? What's the steps that I need to do? What's my identity and who do I need to be, right? And you're kind of always evolving into that, right? So you do it with, because they come up so often, the moment that comes up, it's just automatic. Oh, what's the result? Where am I at? This is what I need to do. Here's the one thing. This is how I'm thinking. This is like how I see myself. This is where I need to be. Boom, get into that space of where you want to be. Take that first action step. You should never take any action outside of the identity that you want to get to, right? If you're in your current state and identity here, that's in your current capabilities, that's giving you the struggle, you taking the steps will not get you through. Always tap into like, who do you want to be? Who do you need to be? If you shot that, what did it feel like? Who is that person? Then take the action. Because I promise you the action that you take will be way different. That goes into intention. And that's where we talk about, that's why, you know, our identity leads you into the intention that you're taking into your practice, the intention that you're putting into the entire like problem solving process to get you through. So thank you guys all this evening. Thank you, Alexa, for sharing. And you guys have a great night, and we'll see you all at the next one.